friends. Welcome back to Connectedness. I'm happy to be here talking to you from Myrtle Beach, where I just spent a nice 4 days by myself. I did have my husband and son join me for a couple of days, but it was glorious spending time on my own, giving myself the self-care that I needed. I'm feeling very relaxed and at peace after doing a lot of journaling, a lot of self-discovery, and some connections too, connecting with mentors and friends while I was here virtually. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fernanda. I'm the host and founder of Filled Cups, and this is the space where we explore what it means to grow, connect, to trust ourselves, and to show up authentically with each other. Today we're doing something a little different. We are going to zoom out. Not just look at one friendship, not just ask, is this person for me? We're going to look at the whole picture, your entire social ecosystem. Who's in it, where they sit, whether the energy you're putting out is actually going to the right places. I'm calling it the friendship audit, and I promise it's a lot less scary than it sounds. It might actually be one of the most clarifying things you do for yourself this year. Let's get into it. When I say friendship audit, I want to be really clear about what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about making a list of people to cut off. I'm not talking about deciding who's a good person or a bad person. And I'm definitely not talking about sending anyone a breakup text. What I am talking about is something closer to taking inventory. Like when you open your closet and you realize, wait, I have 12 t-shirts, but I only ever wear 3 of them. And some of these I've been keeping out of guilt, or because they used to fit, or because I haven't thought about it in a while. I actually just got rid of a bunch of stuff the other day. That's what most of us are doing with our friendships. Not intentionally, it's just by default. The audit is about bringing some intention into it. That's it. So here's a framework I want to use today, and I think once you hear this, you're going to start seeing your whole social world differently. It comes from a researcher named Robin Dunbar. He's an evolutionary psychologist, and he spent years studying how humans actually organize their relationships. Not how we think we do, but how we actually do. And what he found is that our friendships naturally exist in layers, like concentric circles or rings, moving outward from the people you're closest to all the way to your broader community. Let me talk you through them. At the very center, your innermost circle, you have about 1 to 2 people. Those are your most intimate relationships, the ones you'd call at 2 a.m., the ones who know your full story. This circle requires a lot of emotional investment to maintain. And honestly, most of us only have the capacity for 1 or 2 people here at any given time. The next ring out holds about 5 people. Those are the close friends. People you trust deeply, people you see regularly, people you would drop things for if they needed you. The ring after that, that's about 15 people. Those are your good friends. You genuinely care about them, you enjoy their company, but the intimacy is a little lighter. You might not talk every week, but when you do connect, it feels real. And then there's the outer ring, about 50 people, your wider social circle. Friendly faces, people you like seeing at events, people you would stop and chat with. Meaningful, but not deep. Beyond that, Dunbar found we can maintain loose social awareness of up to about 150 people. Acquaintances, people we recognize, extended community. Now, here's what I want you to do right now, even just mentally. Think about your life. Think about who actually lives in each of those rings for you. Because I think a lot of us have never actually done that. We just have friends, one undifferentiated group. And then we wonder why some relationships feel heavy and others feel light. Here's the part of Dunbar's research that I find the most comforting and the most important. These circles are not permanent. People move between rings all the time. Someone who was in your innermost circle 5 years ago might be in a wider ring today. Because life changed and you both grew, the seasons passed. And someone you met 6 months ago might already be moving toward your center because the connection is just that real. That movement is not failure. It's not a sign that something went wrong. It's just how human relationships actually work over a lifetime. Kat Velos, who writes beautifully about friendships at We Should Get Together book and her blog by the same name, makes a really similar point when she challenges the whole best friend concept. She points out that best is kind of a squishy label because the criteria keep changing. Who you talk to most, who you feel closest to emotionally, who's been there the longest, those aren't always the same person. And when we cling to that one singular best friend idea, we set ourselves to feel disappointed more often than not. What if instead of asking, who is my best friend, we asked, who is in my inner circle right now? That question feels much more honest and so much more freeing. Okay, so now that you have a sense of your circles, here's where the audit actually happens. Look at where your emotional energy is going and ask yourself if it matches the ring. Because here's something I see a lot, even with myself. We pour our inner circle energy into our outer ring friendships. And then we wonder why we feel depleted or why it's not being reciprocated. Maybe it's a coworker you've been bending over backwards for, but the care isn't mutual. Or maybe it's an old friend you've kept in the close friends ring out of history and loyalty. But if you're being honest, the connection has drifted to a wider ring. Maybe it's someone you want to be closer to, and you've been overinvesting, trying to pull them in, when the reality is they're just not moving toward you. None of these people are bad, but the mismatch, that's what drains us. Shasta Nelson, who wrote Friendships Don't Just Happen, talks about how real friendship intimacy is built on three things: positivity, consistency, and vulnerability. And I think about those three things through the lens of the circles, because the amount of each one you need varies depending on the ring. You don't need deep vulnerability with your outer circle. You don't need intense consistency with your acquaintances. But your inner circle, all three of those things need to be present, and they need to go both ways. So the audit question isn't just, do I like this person? It's, does the energy I'm giving match where this friendship actually lives? And is it being returned? Now, I want to make an important distinction because I don't want anyone to walk away from this episode thinking that the audit is just about letting people go. Some friendships that feel off, they just need a little tending. And some have genuinely run their course. Those are two very different things, and they deserve different responses. A friendship that needs tending might look like this. You used to be close, but life got busy and you're both drifted. When you do connect, it still feels warm and real. There's still something there. Maybe there's something unspoken that never got addressed. Maybe one of you went through a big life transition and the friendship just paused. That kind of friendship might be worth a reach out. Hey, I miss you. Can we catch up? Sometimes that's all it takes to move someone back towards your center. But a friendship that has run its course looks different. The connection has been one directional for a long time, and it's not just a rough patch, but a pattern. Every interaction leaves you feeling a little worse, even when nothing bad happened. Or you realize you've been staying out of guilt or history, not because the friendship is actually or nourishing you anymore. Dr. Marisa Franco, psychologist and author of Platonic, reminds us that our culture tends to make us feel guilty for outgrowing friendships. Like loyalty means holding on forever. But what Dunbar's research actually shows is that movement between circles is natural. It's human. Letting someone drift to a wider ring doesn't mean you failed them. It might just mean that you're both moving in different directions, and that's okay. The most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to be honest about where things actually are. So here's what I actually want you to do with all of this. Grab a piece of paper or just do it in your head and draw those circles. Put yourself in the middle and then start placing people. not where you wish they were, not where they used to be, where they actually are right now, based on how the friendship actually feels and functions today. And then ask yourself a few questions. Is my inner circle full? Or am I actually a little lonely at the center, even though I have a lot of people in the outer rings? That's more common than people admit, and it's worth knowing. Are there people in a close ring who I've been neglecting? People who deserve more of my attention and would genuinely welcome it? And is there anyone I've been pouring inner circle energy into who really is only an outer ring friend? And would it feel like relief to just let that be okay? You don't have to move anyone dramatically, and you don't have to have hard conversations right away. Just getting clear on the map changes how you show up. You start investing more intentionally. You stop feeling vaguely guilty and drained without knowing why. You make room emotionally and energetically for the connections that actually light you up. Here's what I want you to take away from today. Your friendships are not one big undifferentiated group of people you're supposed to maintain equally and indefinitely. They're a living, shifting ecosystem, and you get to tend it with intention. The people in your inner circle deserve your presence and your investment. The people in the wider circles deserve your warmth and your openness. And the people who are quietly drifting out, you can let that happen with grace, without guilt, without drama. You're not being cold, you're being honest. And honesty with yourself and with others is one of the most loving things you can practice. I'll leave you with one thing to do this week. Just notice. Notice who makes you feel full after you spend time with them. Notice who you keep meaning to reach out to but haven't. Notice where your energy is going and whether it's going in the right places. That's the audit. That's all it is. Thank you so much for being with me here today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. Maybe someone who belongs in your inner circle that you haven't told lately. I'll see you in the next one. Stay connected.